Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to sisi, the test server for EVE Online, and as you can see, today is going to be about mining yields. I want to compare the Mackinaw to the Orca. I fit this Mackinaw in a pretty crazy way, I have to be honest. If you go for fitting, as you can see, I put in drone mining augmenters in the rigs, which means you don't have any CPU or power grids really to fit much of anything else. So it's crazy fit you'll never see, but it is basically together with the mining laser upgrades in the low slot, the best possible yield you can get out of a Mackinaw. So that should be the baseline. For the strip miners, it gives you the information, so there's no need to test this out. 1641 cubic meters per cycle of 145.8 seconds, which comes down to, for both of them together, 22.5 cubic meters per second. So now I'm curious to see what the mining drones will do. So let's press mine on this one on a single cycle, and they have a mining cycle of 60 seconds, I believe. So let's just. I definitely want this information. I want to compare the Mackinaw to the Orca. So we press show info if I can. Can't I press show info on these guys? Look at show info. Here we go, and the cycle time should be 81 cubic meters per 60 seconds, 81.83. I'm just not sure if, let's write this down actually, 81.83 cubic meters every 60 seconds, which in theory gives us a yield of a little bit more than 1 cubic meter per second, which is very underwhelming compared to the strip miners. But we'll see how much these 5 actually mine, because it's possible that this is not bonused with the rigs. So we'll see if this gives like a different result. Here we go, they're returning. And they just mined, all right, they're stopping 409 cubic meters for 5 of them. So we could go 409 divided by 5 gives us, god damn it, why are you doing that? 409, yes, divided by 5 is 81.8. So that seems to be the right amount. So we will divide this by 60, which gives us an extra 1.36 cubic meters per second. Plus the 22.51 is 23.87 cubic meters a second for a theoretically max yield Mackinaw right here. So all right, pretty interesting first bit of information. Let's quickly go back to FD, where unfortunately Rorcals have been mining everything. So I can't mine in FD at the moment. We'll have to do one jump to actually do the comparison. But I think it's worthwhile info just to give you guys an idea, right? These mining drones on the Mackinaw definitely don't make up a lot, right? 1.36 cubic meters a second compared to 22.5 cubic meters a second for the Tech 2 strip miners with Tech 2 mining crystals. It's a no-brainer that the rigs are not worth it. To actually use them on the Mackinaw, you'd better fit off just a little bit of tank just in case. But for the theoretical max yield, there we go. Let's take, so yeah, the fitting here is completely crazy. I was also a little bit curious as to the baseline of the mining drones. So we've got drones, mining drones, and I'm using mining drone 2s. And if I go for information here, it's 33 cubic meters per 60 seconds. So going from 33 to 81.8 from skills and rigs. It's not that bad. So maybe one thing that I could quickly do, as we'll dock up in the seated station here. Let's look for that. Dock. Is I could take out the rigs and just see how much the yield changes on the Mackinaw because of that. And if I press show info inside the hull, what What kind of information do I get here? All right, I actually see this information, so that's good. Okay, all right. So we're going from 33 to 81, but skills probably play a role in this as well. And of course, we could also then accessories calculator do 22.87 times 60 is 1372 cubic meters per minute. Let's write that down as well. 1372.2. I think that's going to be the easiest to compare to how much we get per minute to how much we'll get from the Orca, since that'll do normally 1 minute cycles as well. So let's quickly do fitting here. Let's get rid of these. Destroy, yes. And then what kind of information do I have on this now? Yield 61.8. So it is still like a 30% increase in yield from your mining drones using these two rigs. So interesting information. Let's move to the Orca. Of course, the biggest advantage for the Orca is that basically you can only upgrade the yield through the rigs, and you can put the rest into tanking or agility. I would probably do something close to this. I think it could be all right. And then in the high slots, a couple of boosts, just in case that you have fleets running, could be pretty handy. Especially here again, the shield burst. You could put a shield extension in there, and it's also going to work for you solo. You could also put resistance if you're mostly solo if you want to. Now the calibration is only 400, so you can do 2 drone mining augmenter 2s, and then 1 drone mining augmenter 1. You can't fit 3 of these. And then we can just do a quick look at this. Show info. What do we get here for a yield? 216.03 cubic meters for every 60 seconds, and you can do that times 5. All right. So I actually made a bit of a mistake with the Mackinaw to calculate the total yield, right? I think so. Let's see here once again. Get rid of everything because it was 81.83, but you have to do that times 5 equals 409 plus oh no, divide that by 60. 6.81, that's a little bit better. Plus 22.51 is 29. So I made a mistake. It's around 29.33 cubic meters a second, or let's go again, times 60 for the total. 1759.75 cubic meters per minute is the maximum yield for the Mackinaw. And now of course for the Orca we can actually just calculate this. I thought I'd have to test it out. We'll quickly test it out just to be sure, but we can just take 216.03, do that times 5 since you'll have 5 drones, and that's only 1080.15 cubic meters per 1 minute for a maximum yield fit Orca. Of course, the advantages: you've got a bigger tank, you've got a bigger hold, you've got the boosts running active, is pretty handy, but it is 70% less effective in yield than a Mackinaw. So is this completely going to replace the Mackinaws in high sec? Honestly, I don't think so. Especially in fleets, you're just better off grabbing a couple of Hulks or a couple of Mackinaws when you can actively boost them. Oh, and I don't have charges, that's unfortunate. I'll quickly redock and grab a couple of charges. And so a lot of people are testing this out, but industrialists tend to go a little bit crazy. So there are some problems. So markets, munitions, command burst for mining. I would go for, let's see, enhancement. That's only for range. So honestly, I would choose this. Let's do 5,000. We'll just take something. And then preservation. Obviously also a cost saver for anyone that gets that bonus. So that makes sense. And then for shields, I would take shield extension, which is going to give you extra HP. There we go. Bought those. Now we just have to put them in the ship. So shield extension is what I would put in there. Mining equipment preservation and that one as well. What? Equipment preservation. That was not what I wanted to do. Here, mining laser optimization charge. Put all of these in your cargo hold. And off we go. Let's take this Orca. That is actually crazily fit for yield, but I think you can afford to do that in the Orca. Then we had to, oh man, where was it? That I'd put these, Feldspar, set destination. Alright, we can warp drive active. And so if you're curious here, this is the detailed fit. So you could do different, you could also probably do salvage drones here. You're normally going to sit in a belt for quite a while, but you can have medium drones, you can have hobgoblins, and you can have, of course, mining drones in there. In here I've got large drone mining augmenter 2 of those, and one large drone mining augmenter 1. Down here inertial stabilizer to try and get out a little bit faster, damage control 2, and then full shield extenders and an EM to plug that EM gap on the shields. And HP, you've got 48,480 shields, 8,750 armor, and 56,000 HP structure. You could of course put a structure buff in the low slot here as well. That would probably make a decent amount of sense. Tractor beam in the high slot, I suspect. And if you really want to go all out boosting for shields, like resistances for instance, what you can also do is just get rid of one of the rigs and put a shield, an extra booster in there. But I'll be honest, for me, the Orca is mostly going to be solo play, so I'm very likely to go with full rigs and just try to get as much out of these as possible. And then we've got the ore hold, which is 165,000 cubic meters. Yeah, you can do quite a few cycles before you fill this baby up compared to the 35,000 of a Mackinaw. We can of course take a quick look at that. 1, 2, 3 divided by 35,000 is almost 5 Mackinaws, and that's just the cargo hold, the ore hold. So I'll go to Feldspar. Warp within 0. You also, of course, still have your actual hold. How big is that? 33,000. Pretty much another Mackinaw. And then you also have the fleet hangar, which is another 40,000. And I think while you're mining, you can just move the ore from this one to the other holds. Of course, you have to trust your fleet members to not grab it if you're moving them to the fleet hangar, but we're talking almost 6 Mackinaws in room. Of course, the yield is going to be lower than a max fit yield fit Mackinaw, as we just saw. The 22.51. So this is just for the strip miners, and then we do this times 60 is 1,350, and the theoretical yield that we got from the Orca mining drones is 1,080. So that's honestly not that bad in my book. And as I've said, yeah, it's max yield fit, so the Mackinaw is pretty susceptible to some ganks. But let's go. First time mining in an Orca. That's definitely a pretty crazy feeling. Let's just grab a nearby asteroid. Go like that. We're bouncing around a little bit. But then press mine. Well, mine. There is my target. And then let's move her up just a little bit. But as you can see, you can definitely stay pretty close to your mining drones, and then I actually think that their travel time is going to be almost nothing. All right, let's see how much these guys bring in cubic meters. That's going to be the yield per minute that you get out of this Orca. Go, go, go. I think it looks really cool. It belongs in belts, to be honest. So bring that baby home. And this was equipment preservation and laser optimization, which laser optimization, the speed of their mining modules, allowing increased yield over time. And there we go. Yeah, it's 1080 cubic meters. It's probably a little bit different because of the nature of plagioclase, but that's definitely not bad, right? 1 minute cycle, 200,000 ISK at the valuation that we're seeing here. Not sure how accurate that is, but this is all right, I feel. Let's also do a quick look. Normally, this doesn't add anything to the mining drones, but do I give myself the buffs? Yep, there you go. So we have mining module duration and capacitor bonus, mining crystal volatility bonus, and if I press show info on these babies, shouldn't change anything to them. Cycle time, ooh, mining amount 216. Is that right, Jettison? Because 216 is pretty crazy. 216. Yeah, that's what it says right here. Show info. 216.03. Let's do the calculation on that. Times 5, since you'll have 5 mining drones. Oh, it's still 1080. I was thinking of the 22 that you had in the Mackinaw. That's why. All right. Okay. Makes more sense. I thought for a second there that we got a double buff from the boost, but we don't. Of course, what could still be interesting is that if you want to boost your own resistances, there we go. With the self boost on, I get 14.28 extra HP, which is bringing me to 55,400 shield HP. So you definitely buff yourself. You don't even have to be in an active fleet to enjoy these buffs. And looks pretty good in my book. It's a bit of a trade-off. You'll probably still make more money in a Mackinaw if you're willing to risk the max yield fit, but I think that the Orca can definitely compete in that arena, and it's worthwhile to grab an Orca, put it in a belt and mine a little bit, especially if you have a couple Mackinaw's Hulks in your fleet as well. It becomes an absolute no-brainer if you can fly this one. So there we go, guys. This is probably going to be pretty close to the Orca I'm planning to fly on TQ when that comes out, except one last thing. You can go from... Oh, that's maybe something that we should compare, if I still can. Let's see if I can find that drone. Because there are going to be augmented mining drones as well. Take a look at the theoretical yield there. It was... I think 33 or something for mining drones. All right, mining drone 2, take a quick look at the unbonused one. 33 cubic meters for 60 seconds. And then we have the augmented mining drone, which will give us, let's take a look, 37 cubic meters per 60 seconds. So if we do 33 divided by... Or is no, I think it's 4 that I have to do, divided by 33. It's an increase of 12% times 100 would be an increase of 12% theoretically, which means that we could get 1080.15 times 12.12. We'll do it like that, or something like that, divided by 100. Well, I must have made put 1 0 wrong. Oh, yeah, of course. God damn it. I'm stupid. I have to do 1.1. So 1080 is the yield with Tech 2 drones, and then times 1.12 is 1209 for the augmented drones normally. So definitely another increase of another 10% by 12% of course by grabbing the augmented drones, and this brings it very close to the base yield of around 1300 for just the strip miners from a fully boosted Mackinaw. So I definitely think that the Orca is going to be able to compete with the Mackinaw, especially considering that, as you can see right here, you can stay in the belt for a very long time. And if I want to, let's see if I can do this, I can just move this ore here. That's another 33,000 cubic meters extra, and you can also move the ore here, which is another 40,000 cubic meters extra on top of 165,000. That's a pretty big ore hold, which means that you basically don't have to do a lot of trips when it comes to mining in the Orca. And yeah, there you go, guys. I think that's basically the information that I wanted. It's based on high-sec mining, of course. It's what I mostly do in null-sec. If you want to risk a ore call, feel free to do that. You'll be able to get crazy amounts of ore that way. But I think that this does demonstrate that while the Orca is not overpowered, it's not the best mining yield you can get out there. You don't only want to mine in Orcas. It's definitely a viable alternative, I would say, for the solo players. I would pretty much recommend that if you're mining solo and you want to go for the best yield compared to tank and cargo capacity, your ultimate goal is probably going to be the Orca. If you want to go for pure max yield, once you've got even 2 people mining, you probably want to combine a boosting Orca with a Hulk or with a Mackinaw. So there you go. That's going to be the test for this video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. And as always, I'll see you next time.